Mr. Speaker, I rise in the House today in opposition to this Liberal budget, and also confounded by the fact that it's been titled Building a Strong Economy That Works for Everyone, when the economy is neither strong nor is it working for everyone. I think that should be quite obvious to anyone paying attention. In the spirit of my former colleague at the National Post, Rex Murphy, I'd like to take some time today to speak to the concerns of everyday hardworking Canadians and try to help make sense of how you can have a government calling a budget at this time and in this economy strong and working for everyone. The reality is I've been in Ottawa now for just over a month. I was sworn in to the House in April. And I think one of my key observations is that we have a Liberal government that is living in an alternate reality from the one I lived in before I was in politics and the one I cling desperately to every time I'm in here, because it seems as though in this economy we have Liberal elites experiencing one thing and we have everybody else experiencing something else. Just some things that I'd like to share with the Canadian people that I've observed since being sworn in April. For the last 2 weeks, I have heard the Liberal MP for Whitby defending high grocery bills and making excuses for the fact that it is very expensive for families to purchase the food they need, never mind the healthy food that they need. Earlier today, he was going on and on and on again. Last week he said, and I would like to quote him, "Mr. Speaker, I know that the member opposite feels that grocery prices are too high, and they have been certainly. However, the CPI index has shown that food prices are stabilizing in our economy, which is good news for Canadians." Now, I'd like to point out the obvious. Many Canadians hearing me speak right now might be thinking, is it good that high grocery costs are stabilizing? Shouldn't the objective of the government be to bring down the costs since they're so high? And this is a good window into the kind of thinking going on here. I mean, this is what I mean when I say you've got an economy for Liberal elites and everybody else. So let's continue exploring this. The day before the Liberal MP for Whitby made these comments that grocery prices are stabilizing despite being obscenely high, there was a new food bank opened in his own riding, Mr. Speaker, in Whitby, in his own riding, the day before he comes into Ottawa and says that things are going great and he's got good news for Canadians. There's a new food bank opening up down the street from his constituency office. This is an alternate reality. They are creating some kind of bizarre picture of what's going on in this country, and I think people in our country deserve to know that when they ask, how dare the Liberals produce a budget with the title, Building a Strong Economy That Works for Everyone? Now, let me share some more observations from what I've seen since I've come to Ottawa last month. Yesterday, across the street at the Housing Committee, Trudeau's housing minister, the minister from Central Nova, said, and I actually had to ask him to repeat this just so I could confirm, Mr. Speaker, this was even true, because I was shocked. I was like, I must have misheard him. Nope, I heard him right. He said that the Liberal government's national housing strategy has exceeded its objectives. How is that possible? How is it possible in this economy for them to be running around Ottawa saying that they've exceeded their objectives?
J'interromps l'honorable député de...
I have to interrupt the honourable member because another member is rising on a point of order.
Remind the member opposite, I know he's new, he's not allowed to use the names of people in the chamber. Thank you.
Bon, oui, en effet...
Yes, indeed, the member knows full well that you have to refer to people by their ridings.
Un peu plus de 5 minutes pour
Member has a bit over 5 minutes to finish his speech.
People draw attention to their numerous failings. I will say the Prime Minister's housing minister across the street said that his national housing strategy has exceeded its objectives. And maybe the Liberal member opposite is confused as to how he could have said such a thing, but he did. It was on video, I promise you. And he said to put a positive spin on policies that are obviously failing the people of Canada. And while he's sitting in Ottawa saying that his national housing strategy has exceeded its objectives, in my home community of Durham, the Clarington Municipal Council voted unanimously calling for urgent action from the federal government on homelessness. Because in my home community of Durham, just like many others across this country, we have a growing crisis of people without homes. And consequently, we have a growing crisis of homeless encampments being established so people have somewhere to sleep at night. We are concerned in Clarington about this problem, but we are also concerned because we have seen in our neighboring community of Oshawa a similar challenge. While the Prime Minister's housing minister is sitting in Ottawa trying to put a positive spin on their failed national housing strategy, there is a homeless encampment in Oshawa on fire. Smoke could be seen all across Durham region. In fact, you could see that smoke from Whitby. Maybe some of the Liberal members should be talking to each other about what's going on here. Now, why do we have a growing homelessness problem in Durham? Why are there a growing number of our brothers, sisters, friends, and neighbors having a hard time finding an affordable place to live? Well, it's obviously a complicated problem, but one of the contributing factors is that the cost of housing in Toronto, just to the west of us, is skyrocketing to an outrageous degree. Now, I know my friends in Toronto have had a hard time the last couple weeks. We had to see the Leafs lose. We had to see Drake get trounced by Kendrick Lamar. And now you go on to see the ad listings for housing in Toronto. And I saw this at the end of April. A bunk bed in Toronto, $600 a month. I repeat, a bunk bed. Not even a full bed. You got someone sleeping on top of you. $600 a month. Now, this apartment in Toronto, in the listing, said 8 or 10 people maximum could fit in that studio apartment. And for $600 a month, you do not get hot water, heating, air conditioning, a smoke alarm, or a carbon monoxide detector. These ads that are being produced in Toronto are showing a desperate situation that many young people are in. And this is the disconnect. This is why I say, in this economy, liberal elites, everybody else. Because what they have produced here is an obscene situation where they can come here to Ottawa, put their high deficit, high tax budgets forward, claim to be doing good things for people. Meanwhile, every time we go home, we see the consequences of what they're doing here. The last thing, and this is perhaps the most egregious example, it's one that my buddy Rex Murphy, rest in peace, used to write about quite a bit. He used to write extensively about the carbon tax and how it is an exemplary policy of liberal elitism and bizarre ideology in action. I come here and almost every day I sit in this chair and I hear liberals telling us that the carbon tax is helping people, that people are getting more money back, that it's good for our economy. And yet I go home to Durham and I hear and see the complete opposite. I knocked on many, many doors in the by-election campaign before I got here, and one of the recurring themes I would find is that I would go to a family farm and they would produce a tax bill just like the one that I have in my hand right now. And I would see that family farms are paying thousands and thousands of dollars in carbon taxes, and then being charged a tax on top of what they're paying for the carbon tax. And that would then increase the cost of food for us in Oshawa, in Curtis, in Bowmanville. And we could see within our own local community how the carbon tax is making it harder and harder for people to pay their bills. So when the Liberal government comes here and says that this carbon tax is good for us and good for our economy, that we should be continuing to pay more taxes and the cost of everything goes up to fill their coffers, it's just the latest example of liberal elites and everybody else. Thank you.